which means now we ready. We're on. Hey guys, how you guys doing? We here on the DizzyCast podcast. I'm here with my friends. Absol, tell me how you doing today.
Well, I'm doing alright. A little tired. Was up till about 4 a.m. giving someone life advice.
Understandable. How you doing today, Rise Blue?
I'm doing pretty good, you know. Just got a foot massage, a back massage, versus bump massage. Life's good, man.
Getting rubbed down. Aloe, how you doing today?
I'm good. Really just chilling. I played Unite earlier, and okay, so little tangent, not too long, but Umbreon, Lapras, and Chandelure are coming, so that's exciting. Getting some
Mm-hmm.
new Pokemon in there.
That's cool. That's cool. Today, we're gonna talk about educating allies, plus some other LGBT issues. This was a topic brought to us by Aloe Vera Sauce. Aloe, you have
How's,
the floor.
how's this man gonna keep deafening if he's gonna be on a
Okay.
podcast?
No way he's deafening. That goddamn.
Yeah, but
Why are you deafening?
so the topic for today is educating allies because okay, y'all, we are all of POC, people of color, and we have all experienced some sort of discrimination, whether it be in person, online, whether it be passive aggressive. And we are all allies of a community that we are also not a part of. Whether it be the trans community, we are allies to those people, or whether it be, Black, Native, whatever, right? Okay, and so I've been seeing a lot. We're going to start off with the LGBT side of this because I feel like a lot more of us can put input on this, before we get to the
Literally,
deeper
three of
things.
us are in that out the gate.
Yes. And so I know you guys might not have seen it, but this is getting really bad, and I'm wanting to speak about this now because next year is when we vote again for the president, and I feel like a lot of people only focus on the presidential vote and not really the voting in your community for your mayors, your judges, your lawyers. Voting for things that
Governors.
you can easily governors. You know what I mean? Easily accessible people in your spots, and so this brings me to my point of I personally feel like a lot of people have been ignoring, like brushing to a side, not really paying attention to it. But in Tennessee, currently, it has been outlawed to be a drag queen in public, and
Really?
and yes, they have outlawed, and they're outlawing transitioning in general for
Mm.
any gender affirming, sorry, where you can't get a feminine facialization or whatever surgeries that you had access to because of your healthcare, they are now officially denying it. And I've
And
also
that's
seen
on
a
a
hot topic.
statewide level?
Yes, that is on a statewide level. It's not just cities trying to ban these things. It is the entire governors in these states that are trying to fuck this shit up, basically. And I've also noticed it's not just Tennessee, it's a bunch of southern states that have been doing this and taking part in this. And their reasoning is they're saying, oh, well, we don't need to, kids don't need to see drag queens. It's inappropriate. Bitch, you seeing a drag queen dressed up as a princess reading The Little Mermaid to you in a library is not inappropriate. Y'all, let's just really cut the bullshit and say it how it is. A lot of conservatives like to
Also,
basically they use their tactic that oh no, you go ahead. Go ahead. Okay.
most drag shows, like for the actual shows, are age restricted, and they will try and say that those are corrupting children as well when they don't have access to them.
Exactly. They know nothing about the community. It's literally they're straw manning. They are straw manning the argument, and straw manning meaning they're taking a second point that has nothing to do with the original argument, which is the problem with
Hmm.
conservatism and how it affects and restricts people. Versus they're just trying to say, oh well, let's just say drag is inappropriate because y'all have big titties and y'all are on TV. That's not really. You're making it about that now because there are plenty of drag brunches or shows, and most of the time, drag queens are in bars that are 21 and up anyway. So children don't even get access to drag queens unless it's in like a public library when they're doing story time for kids, or when they're doing, something to help the community out, because COVID has been horrible and it's affected a lot of people's work. And so that's where I personally feel like they're trying to take advantage of the whole pandemic situation. And now that we're kind of coming out of the pandemic, in a sort of like, people are more comfortable with going outside and expressing themselves. I didn't see none of this shit start up again until after the lockdown. And it's just been getting worse and worse, and it's gotten almost to its all-time high now, because they were always talking about oh, by the way, not to mention, Tennessee also is I don't know if they've officiated it yet, but yeah, they working on banning same-sex marriage just all together. Now it's wild to me, because it's like, these are laws that have been passed 2015, when Obama was president, and he passed the whole Marriage Equality Act for everybody in the entire country.
I
And
believe so, because it was around the same time I dropped out of high school.
right, and it was the pretty much our biggest moment in our communities yet, because it was like, there's no one stopping us. But no, now they're just, it seems like we're stepping back so far back too. It's not even just like a slight, like, nudge, and no, they're completely banning it. And a lot of states are getting inspired from other states to be like, we've been waiting to do this, and they use the Bible to justify it. And so I would like you guys to really, before we even ask about the opinions, just really think about like your community in your area, because you might see a lot of things and be like, oh, that's not going to affect me. But what they do to other minority groups will guarantee hit you 2 times harder when it gets to you and it's your turn. You might be white sitting here thinking, oh, okay, well, just because the black community got this going on, don't mean that we good. But if you're a white queer, watch what happens. Watch, it's gonna hit you too. It's gonna hit you too. Unless you are cisgender hetero white, that's the only way you're immune. You are gonna get completely targeted. So don't just think because you have an inch of privilege that it's not gonna happen to you, because I guarantee you it will.
Right, because they do what they do, and then they see how much they can get away with, and they do it more and more and more and more until you just submit at that point. Like,
And it's bad. And it's not even. That's why I always say, like, the president isn't the end all be all of who you should vote for. And I know a lot of people don't have information or access or know about these things, but if you really, and when things start getting bad, like how we're seeing it now, I know that I don't have any plans on transitioning anytime soon. However, bitch, I might never be able to get legally married, or I might never be able to get benefits or certain rights because of who I am. And I'm not going to let it get to my point. I'm not going to let it just trickle down to where it's hitting me. I'm going to stop it at the source. And so I feel like if the least you should do is at least, educate your allies, which is what the podcast topic is about currently. So what are your guys' opinions on current restrictions that are happening, and like how bad things are getting?
You want to go first? Absolutely.
In terms of my state, I literally, it's like, I will still vote and everything that I can do, but since I'm in majority red state, let alone one that's considered to be the middle of nowhere, it's like everything in terms of our legislatures, especially like for our town, I'm like, it's borderline worthless for my contribution, because the fact that there's so few here. Because in this town, I think I've only seen maybe 6 black people, and that's about it. And then,
not to dox you,
yeah,
but do you live in the Bible Belt per se? Like, in the Bible Belt isn't like, it's like, I'm not gonna say the states because that's bad, say it live, but it's basically just a select few handful of states that they're pretty much ran by the church. Their laws are very Bible based.
no, I'm northwest of those.
Oh, okay. So see, and then that's a great example. So a lot of people can't say it's just happening in like very Christian Bible state,
No,
areas. It's happening pretty much everywhere.
It is
Yeah,
most
it's
certainly
everywhere.
not just the southeast. Absolutely not.
Because I know there's a lot of people who say, "Oh, well, that's just the South. That's just how it is." And me being from the South, no, it's not just the South. We hear a lot of shit about up here too. We hear a lot of shit about up north and out west, and
Mhm.
it's it's everyone's a problem. And I feel like a lot of people use the South as a scapegoat. The South might be the most vocal about their "we don't give a fuck about you, fuck you guys," but girl, everybody else doing their dirt too. Everybody else got a rug they kicking stuff under.
Mm-hmm.
And so this leads me to my next point. Okay, so there's been a video going around um about an autistic boy in New York. And he was, let me see.
Is this
I
the
can pull
one
it up
you
right here on Twitter.
linked on the 13th?
Yes. Mm-hmm. And he was riding R211, the subway. So anyone who might listen to this, you know where that is in New York. And he basically got jumped and harassed by a bunch of Latin people and was referred to as the insular. And then they just straight up like started mollywopping him. Like they just jumped on him. And then in the video you can see the girl, he's trying to run away from them. He's trying to like, not pay them any mind. And then you can see a girl holding him, making sure he can't get too far away. Like they're
Also pulling down
anchoring
his
him.
mask at one
Mm-hmm.
point.
Yes. And a lot of people don't talk about this, but I'm gonna be the one to really, I've heard a lot of people saying how they feel about it, and I want to say this: when it comes to Black issues, because I noticed this when George Floyd happened, y'all love. Not saying y'all isn't us or our listeners, but some of the people who might have this opinion, y'all love to like whenever Black people are complaining about the shit that happens, it's like, but us too, but us too, but us too. It's always a but us too when it's us versus them. But I have never, in my personal experience, done that to somebody else's community. Like when I hear Native American people talking about, the women in their community that get kidnapped and things happen. I never say, "But me too," because that's disrespectful.
That's
Right,
right.
it's not about you.
That's so
You're on
rude.
topic.
That's right. Like that's not. You want to be the center of attention so badly. Like I remember when I was in high school when George Floyd happened, and I seen people posting on their Instagram about some Hispanic boy that got jumped at a convenience store because he was Hispanic. But I'm like, that is tragic, yes. But this is an entirely different situation right now. We will all speak about everyone's problems, but it seems like they never give us the time to speak on it without us being interrupted or without someone trying to pretty much white splain, if
Oh
I'm being
God.
real, because white splaining is something that happens so common to minorities. It's just like we'll be talking about something really tragic, like slavery, for instance, and they'll say, "Oh, my family was too poor to own slaves." Good for you, Brokey. I didn't ask. What? I'm supposed to be happy that your family was poor? Oh, that's not. That doesn't make it any. Like you see what I mean? I know you guys have heard examples
Or
of
they'll
like,
pull out that was like 200 years ago remark.
Uh-huh.
yeah, they'll
That's
pull that
literally
up. Oh
two
my!
lifetimes ago. That could be someone's grandma.
My great grandma that's still alive.
Yeah.
My great grandma that's still alive still remembers picking cotton when she was a little girl.
You can't even
Like
just
that.
say that shit when we like literally everything that we have today is rooted in that shit.
Yes, everything. Like it's so. That's why it blows my educating allies, because I feel like a lot of allies of POC people, which is really just mainly white people, they don't really get the grasp of mind your like stay in your lane. If you're gonna be an ally, make sure you're letting us speak for ourselves. Don't try to take over because you did one Google research paper in high school and all of a sudden you think you just
You
Albert
would.
Einstein with it.
Another
You're
another
not.
thing we could bring into this is especially on Twitter to the white splaining part, it's like they will try and say something's cultural appropriation without even asking the culture that it's from
Oh God.
Yeah.
Yeah,
if they dislike
like that
it.
one tweet. You remember I
Like
sent it out this morning.
they will try and police people sharing heritage, even if it's not
Mm-hmm.
inherently theirs. Even though it's like,
Like,
especially
mm-hmm.
with Hispanic heritage, we love when people share, but it's like for some reason people on Twitter will be like over here lecturing everyone how it's cultural appropriation and everything between that.
It's just not
And
enough
if I'm
education.
being real,
Fool
It's just
said,
people passing down like ideas that they think to their children, and then that's making misinformation. So there should be a lot of more information, education to the reach of many people,
"Oh God,
but it's not
mm-hmm,
happening. It's like, oh,
right.
my dad told me da 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 da, when that's just a thing that he picked up from one person or from someone who isn't of that culture anyway.
mm-hmm."
It's
Mm-hmm.
all just a mess.
Like, oh, what did Fu say, by the way, Jay? You were gonna read a comment?
Oh yeah, Fool said, "Dude, I've seen like 5 black people in my town when talking about like barely seeing black people in his
Oh,
area, and
yeah.
I think there's only one other darker skinned person at my entire job. Sally, they work on a entirely different shift than me." And talking about bringing out the "but us" card, Fool said, "Yeah, the white side of my family pulls the 'but us' card a lot."
Oh my girl. Okay. What was I gonna say? Okay. I have friends who are from all over the world, right? Like with the school I was going to, it had a lot of people from India, it had a lot of people from like Chinese cultures, and they were saying over where they're from, it's celebrated for people to appreciate their culture and to take part in it and to just have fun, right? But then they also said at the same time when you have, which is mainly white people, who do like impersonations of it. And you're not there's a difference between impersonating and appreciating. You can like when someone throws on what's his name? He used to smoke a lot of weed.
Snoop Dogg.
He's a Jamaican.
Marley,
No,
Oh,
he's Bob Marley. When white people throw on some a dreadlock wig and start doing a Jamaican accent, girl,
they
come
said,
on.
"I am Bob
Like,
Marley, man," and they just fucking just run with that bullshit like he's the only Jamaican.
Mm-hmm.
Bacon, yeah,
like they
like
they they treat him like he's the SpongeBob of Jamaica. It's like he's that's the one. That's the one right there. Like, why did they cartoonize him so much too? Like, that's not. He was a real person,
Because
mind
they
probably
you.
don't
because he's so
understand.
iconic.
It's not
Like
just
he's
that
so
he's
iconic,
iconic.
and it's becoming like more and more like
Because
watered down because they
They
don't
ne-
understand him.
they
yeah,
also associate it with characterization. Like a good
yeah.
example is Little Jacob from Grand Theft Auto 4, where they pretty much made him a one-to-one trope of exactly what people think that culture is.
And they
Mm-hmm.
just think that's what it
Yeah,
is, and they run with it.
and so that's what's bringing me to this. It's just like besides the culture aspect of it, I feel like I'm just really sick of like, and it's not even just Twitter because it happens on Reddit and it happens on TikTok
All over.
of people who just that whenever it comes to an issue about like I remember seeing it, like the issue I brought up earlier with Native American women who it is very common that and a lot of people don't talk about it of how they get um blank trafficked, and it's
Mm-hmm.
not talked about because it's just like whenever I see someone bring it up, they say, but also what about when this happened to this girl? And it's just like, yeah, we already talked about that though. We don't. It's like as soon as someone tries to bring up a new conversation when it comes to, you know, an
The second
oppression of
it's
some
brought up,
sort.
the second
Okay.
it's brought up tied to race, that's when they're no longer comfortable talking about it because it's not about them anymore.
It's like, ooh, you're saying it's about brown people? Oh, but what about that white girl that had that happen to her too? Yeah, she's important too. Nor
Like,
us.
oh, okay. Let's talk
I
about news
feel like
coverage. Go ahead.
they constantly forget that you can talk about two topics at once, but that shouldn't overshadow the other one.
Mm-hmm. That's facts.
They were literally having a war on Instagram of it was like some like Hispanic person that got oppressed during the George Floyd thingy, and they were trying to use that as a this is happening too, so shove this in. But then it's like he what ended up happening was I think he got involved with some bad people, and it was very unfortunate what happened to him. However, the George Floyd situation was dealing with the police that are hired by the state, so this was a legal issue that people were trying to get solved versus a issue that was dealing with something that had just regular citizens. That was something you can't really look into it as deep as you can look into, hey, the state hired these police officers and they killed this man for no reason. You see what I mean there? It's like an issue where it's like, this is something that can happen legally to us people versus something that happened because of an environment. It's you can't compare the two, but it's also like, this situation is this is one of many versus one of something that is spontaneous.
I'm so tired of that though, because I know why they do that shit. Because they're tired of like, oh man, these black people always being the victim and shit. But then at the same time, it's like the only thing we're known for is being victims because that's the only thing y'all want to talk to us about.
Exactly. Like, the new Proud Family show. I don't know if you guys Absol and Blue have been keeping up or whatever, but they revamped the Proud Family show. They revamped it on Disney Plus. They completely renewed everything. All the characters are updated, and they are getting boycotted for their season 2 episode on Black History Month because they were basically saying this country was built off of the backs of slaves, and how the culture that everyone uses today, the food that people eat, the seasonings, the spices, it comes from all POC aspects. And it's just that they want to claim it as their own. Like, I'll use Elvis as an example. Elvis stole a lot of his music in the beginning of his career from a black person in the South. KFC. That man's Colonel, whatever his name is, stole his recipe from Colonel Sanders. He stole his recipe from a black woman who was a help, which the help in the black communities turns for back. And when slavery was abolished, they put us into indigent servitude, which meant that we would basically work for maybe not even a penny at most sometimes. And so a lot of the culture, music, food, dance, just a lot of it is just built off of native,
blues, all that's like
native, Asian, black. It's built off of our culture, and we get the blunt end of it though. We get oh, here's the neck bone. Oh yeah, we ate the whole turkey though. Like, you see what I mean? It's like we don't get to experience everything that we've pretty much given to them, or we're forced to give to them. And so that brings me to my news topic. The news is a horrible, controlled, toxic environment. And I'm talking about like live TV news and blogs and things that are controlled by boomers. When Breonna Taylor died, and the Breonna Taylor story, basically the officer busted into the wrong house, and then he just ended up shooting Breonna Taylor, which she was in there. And it was a whole situation. It was like, you knew it was the wrong house because it said the house number on her door. And once you've seen the woman, you should have known that wasn't the person you were looking for because you had all the information. So basically, he busted in there with no warrant and killed her. And then we go to around that same time, a woman had got lost while she was hiking. It was a white woman, and she was hiking with her boyfriend. And so people were saying her boyfriend probably did it. And the news was only covering the white woman. Mind you, the black woman situation happened around the same week. So you would think that, what's it called? The police are corrupted. They've done this. They purposely, he busted into that woman's house and killed her with no rights. And mind you, Breonna Taylor, no criminal record, nothing. She was a clean slate type of girl, had a good future going for her and everything. And it's just sad. It's sad what happened to her. However, the news and the family got really pissed about it. And that's why it was a big thing, because the family was like, the news, they were going to news stations asking, hey, can you guys cover this story? Because our daughter, we need money, we need help with funeral costs and everything. Our daughter, she,
literally
passed away.
executed.
Yes. And the news said, well, the story isn't interesting enough. We have a white woman that got killed or kidnapped on the mountains right now that we're covering. They literally told the family the story wasn't interesting enough. Like, wow. And that shows you it's not even just the Twitter people are doing it. It's at a corporate level. It is at a corporate level of them saying, we're not going to cover this story. We're not going to give you guys a spotlight to shine and spread awareness because I mean, you black. Girl, bye. You black. That's literally what they said.
Literally.
And that is just one of many examples that happened. What was the black boy's name? Trayvon Martin?
Yep.
Trayvon, the same thing happened with Trayvon Martin. Their family had to fight for the news to cover the story. And it happens to countless black trans women as well, because that's another thing that ties in with LGBT and POC. It's just a lot of our trans people in our community are, and it's mainly, if I'm going to do it based off of statistics, it is especially the trans women, because trans men, for like, if we're gonna be honest 100% here, like being I've been gay. I've known I was gay since second grade. Girl, I was out the womb gay. Okay, and so I've noticed that like my lesbian friends and my more masculine friends on the whether gay or lesbian side are always like passable. In the sense of passable meaning like the hetero community does not bother them. They don't really get too much, shit at them, and they're left alone a lot of the time, more than a feminine person such as myself. And so a lot of more masculine trans people get like they still get it because it's through everybody. However, the numbers don't lie. It is a lot of feminine trans people who are violently attacked and killed, body, like literally there's been stories of body parts being chopped up and thrown in my neighbor. I was living in a neighborhood where a black trans woman, she got kidnapped and her remains were found scattered across the city.
Very
Complete like
fucked
it
up.
was like a wild goose chase for the police to go on. And it was so messed up. It was so wrong. And the only reason why I heard about it was because it was talked about on, it is now referred to as the Tom Joyner Morning Show, but it was the Steve Harvey Morning Show on the radio. And I mean, it wasn't that long ago. Radio was pretty much dead unless you're streaming. So that's why I say like news outlets are a big, pretty much need in our community. And so that's why I'm kind of glad, as shitty as social media can be, the news won't cover it for us. So we have to have some way of spreading the word. But have you guys heard any stories, or do you guys have any people that like have been discriminated against, and it's just like it seems like it's brushed under the rug? Because I could keep going.
Before I say that, I want to mention the Fool's comments right here. Fool says, "Dude, as a dancer, it's a little sad to realize that people don't understand that almost all dance originate from POC. That's facts. It's fun to educate people because they usually find it fascinating, but that realization was still a little sad because they just think, wow, they're brown. They can make that? Wow."
Yeah.
But y'all go ahead. Y'all
go ahead, Blue.
I think it's best if you continue because I don't really look at the news because of all the negativity, all the issues that you're stating. So I'm not up to date because I refuse to be let down by society. I know I should not let that affect me.
I know what you mean, though.
I understand because
get from the news, but
it's no, you're perfectly fine.
You barely hear positive news.
I don't want to talk about like my upbringing because that's not the point. But it's more like where I'm from is very difficult to like be happy with the news.
Yeah,
and I totally get it. It's like a lot of people don't have to be focused on the news all the time because a lot of people can't handle it the way that, and I'm not saying you're weak or anything, but it's just mentally, it is a anchor.
It is very mentally taxing.
Yes, I deal with it because I love the news. I love hearing about new and updated things because I refuse to be caught off guard. Me personally, if I hear in my city right now, there's a fucking police force that's trying to brute forcefully break into a black church or something, I want to know because I don't want to be walking down the street and then and not be here tomorrow. You see what I mean? Like it's a thing of like, but at the same time, I completely understand keeping your peace because, girl, when I be reading some of these comments under some of these tweets about like real life issues, like that video was filled with a bunch of Latin people that were pretty much saying, "Oh well, what did he do? What did the autistic boy do? Is he even autistic?" Like y'all say anything for black, y'all give any black people a mental disorder so they can get away. It's like I don't think he could do anything that would have warranted an entire classroom full of people to hold him down and beat him senseless while also calling him slurs.
You could see
He's
that
not
nigga
Cartman.
wasn't doing nothing. That nigga, they were just fucking with him. You could see that they were just fucking with him. If you had common sense, you
Also,
could
he
tell
This
was
isn't-
that
quite
they were just
literally
fucking with
trying
him.
to walk away from the scenario the whole time too.
On God.
Yes, and I've said this countless times, and because I've experienced it, and I know a lot of people from New York say that they've experienced this too. There is a lot of racism, and not even just the white community, and just because a lot of in the Latin community they refuse to accept the Afro aspect of their community. They have refused to accept because they want. 'Cause from what I've heard and learned from a lot of elderly Hispanic people and a lot of people who grew up in the actual communities, they've said that like back in the day, being as light as you can and not claiming anything black was the way to go because black was the lowest on the tier in
Yeah.
terms of like social tier. And so that's why they don't accept a lot of Afro Latinas or Afro anything in there because it's like we don't want to be in that space. And then it turns into racism. Then it turns into we're going to attack. You have people that attack and actively do what we saw in that video.
Mhm.
And that's not the only time it's happened. That's just one of the biggest recorded videos. But I guarantee you that's not the first time that it's happened to that boy or probably anyone for that matter.
Absolutely not.
And I've had this issue because I come from a I think my state was blue recently, but it's in the South and it's conservative girl. Them hoes, you know. And so I've had experiences with Asian people and Latin people who have called me out of my name in a racial slur or have done these things. And I look at them and I'm like, I'm not gonna take it there with you, but bitch, you on the same. We right there, okay? We cousins. Because let me tell you something. At the end of the day, if Trump was to walk into this building, he ain't giving you a job just like he ain't giving me a job. Let's talk about it. Y'all love because it blew my mind. It was this Asian guy in my 8th grade class, and he was a huge Trump supporter. And same with this Indian kid that I knew too. And it blew my mind because I'm like, he be dogging y'all people on the daily.
Did he make a
Dogging
comment?
y'all.
I'm not sure, but did he make a comment about
You remember the border? You remember the borders closed, and we didn't accept any Middle Eastern people in our country for about like a
Yep.
year or two.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what I was talking about. I'm like, you have family here. I legitimately knew people from the Middle East that supported it, and I'm like, that is blowing my mind. And you had Hispanic people that were saying, yeah, we don't want people from Mexico coming here because of the drugs they bring in. But it's like you wouldn't dare say that to the people who live there, and you are part of their community. You are a part of their community.
That
So
white
that's why it
propaganda be
really,
hitting different.
girl. Like I know we always say we have a lot of black raccoons, and you know the word.
Yeah.
But no, girl, y'all got king batches in y'all communities too that y'all need to sort out. Because I think y'all got too comfortable with the attention not being on you and just being on black people and ew, let's spit on the black name and let's kick them aside. Y'all have people in y'all's communities too that are very problematic, and don't support you, mind you. You get a taste of white people money and you change.
That white
'Cause
propaganda hit crazy.
and no one talks about the propaganda issues. No
They
one
really
ever
don't.
brings up the whole. They always bring up the whole. Oh well, King Batch is a raccoon and this that, and the third.
You're just speaking some woke nonsense. What the fuck?
Oh, like when that one. Okay, it was on Twitter. This one white family. Somebody had asked them. So like, do y'all? They had replied to one of their tweets with a picture of Santa Claus, but it was a black man dressed up as Santa Claus, and they said we're not having a woke Christmas. We're having a normal Christmas. So you don't even know what the word woke means. You're just associating it with black because it's used with black people.
Yeah, they just it's them being able to freely use the N word. That's the new N word for them.
It really is.
Yeah.
Well, like it comes with a lot of it, and absolutely. Okay, this is what I really wanted to ask. So, if I'm correct, you are of Native American descent, right?
Yes.
Okay. And so, have you? Because I've had a Native American friends in the past that have talked about it, but like, have you experienced or ever seen it in your family or friends any discrimination or prejudice behavior because of your skin tone and because of your descent?
Absolutely. And I'm also a mix of Eastern Indian, but because people from the state where I used to live would just get those mixed up with the Middle East. On top of that, sometimes people would just make jokes saying Allah Akbar whenever they saw me and make bombing jokes as well.
Rice.
That blows my mind because you said East. You said East first of all, and then they said,
Yeah,
"Oh,
East
East, Middle,
Indian,
same thing."
yeah, Eastern Indian and Native American.
I can't. Oh my god, no, because it's so stupid. I hate it. I know exactly how that feels because I've had people because I'm lighter than like the average in my family. They think, oh, you got some Hispanic in you. Your name, and then my name, my actual name is Alonzo, and so that name is Hispanic and it has Hispanic origins. But you can't. If I'm telling you I'm black, believe what the fuck I say. You can see it. I can pull out my ID if you need it. If you need me to, like, and I won't. But I won't though. That's my biggest thing. I won't pull out my ID. But if it comes down to it, bitch, I have it because I feel like that's the thing. I was shopping in Sam's Club one time. I'll bring this story up. And I dropped my wallet while I was checking out. And then when I went to go pick it up, the manager walked up to me and said, "Is that your wallet?" I looked at her like I was about to spit on her throat because who the fuck, bitch? Yes, you're not gonna sit here and assume. Bitch, if I have the money to shop in Sam's Club, do you think I'm stealing a wallet? Sam's Club is not some cheap ass store to shop into. First of all, you have to have a membership to walk in there, and that's like what $100 a month, or not a month, but a year. And then everything in there is $20 and up. Bitch, I have the best believe I have money, and so I was like, I looked at her like she was crazy, and kept checking out my stuff because I'm like, bitch, I'm not going to prove nothing to you. What the fuck you gonna do, bitch? I will get you fired, and I'll have you trending by tomorrow, bitch. That really and where I'm from, I've never had a public experience of that level. It's more been like, little sidebar comments or little, shade here and there, but just straight up walking up to me being bold like that, you lucky you didn't get punched, lady. Because that could have happened for you. Because I could have said you came into my personal space and I felt threatened.
I should also mention regarding the thing I mentioned earlier.
Mm-hmm.
That actually straight up happened within earshot of our teacher in my sixth period science class, and just everyone else just stood there, said nothing, and just
They don't
like
say
waited for
anything.
They
class
really
to
don't.
start. They
Let me
didn't say anything.
let me tell you, Wade. This got nothing to do with this. I just wanted to bring this up because it was discrimination for me though. But I remember, like, all these motherfuckers. They like I was in middle school, right? We was in the lunchroom. All these niggas make me uncomfortable. They kept on talking about my penis. I was like, what? Like, they never seen it. They don't know what the fuck my dick is. They kept talking about my dick. And I was like, y'all mothers are whores. The teacher I was sitting right next to us finally said something to me and said, hold on. That's sexual harassment to me.
Huh?
Do you understand? I was
When
so
they were
mad.
talking about your
They were talking about my dick right in your earshot. But when I retaliate, then it's sexual harassment to you?
Mm-hmm.
And that's another that
Mm-hmm.
is a major issue with fetishizing. Basically, to them, it's foreign and sacred people. It's like you're actively saying, like, the whole, like, I hate. I mean, we really need to say this though, because like I know a lot of black men that are out there that are like, whenever they hear people say, "Oh, you black, you probably got a big dick," they get an ego boost. You should really punch them in their throat when they say that shit to you. Why do they don't even know the history behind that. They don't know the history of how many slaves got killed because a slave master slave had a bigger penis than them. You don't know how many people that has gotten killed, hung on a tree, all the above, 1, 2,
and
and 3.
and that's really a problem because again, that stuff isn't really taught in schools, so
Really
people
ain't.
wouldn't know that at all. So if someone was to say that, they probably wouldn't know the history behind that, as well as the psychology behind. Oh, you got a big dick. So when the guy hears that, everything else doesn't matter because I got a big dick. So I think that's the focus that the guys go towards for stacked on again education not being accessible to both parties, and that's an issue for literally everything.
That's why when I was in high school, I advocated for African American studies to expand on its education. I had to sit there legitimately with the student council and everything, and I had to come up with things that they would teach in the class because all they went over in there was slavery, and then
Slavery
they
in every
barely even
continent.
got some Martin Luther King.
Yeah, they'll
They,
talk about slavery
they
in Asia, then in Africa, then America, and then skip over Malcolm X to go to Martin Luther King to go over to JFK, and that's literally it every year. Every year is the same thing.
Mhm.
so
Like if
and
you
I
fail
had to.
history, it's just because you're just not good enough, or you just don't care anymore.
Let me
You
remind
And
can't
you,
not
it's
know
like
history.
I didn't become educated on Malcolm X until after I got involved with Cedric's crew. That was after I dropped out of high school.
Literally, like
Mhm.
I didn't know black stuff until I made more black friends, and I'm like, that really happened. Like, yeah, look it up. I said it's on
Because
the internet. You
teachers
heard
ain't gonna
Christ?
teach
Yeah,
you
back it
shit.
up. And it's crazy too because when I grew up in like a black part of area, obviously this is a thing because when you're in a certain demographic, you get taught different things. So when I was in the
Also,
black area, I was
they
learning
try
black
and
history.
teach you
It's just
every minute detail about, like, oh, let's say the Industrial Revolution or something like that in the past, where
uh-huh.
they try and nail every detail into you and spend about 6 months of your semester just talking about that. And then when
Hmm.
it comes to more recent history or black history, they just don't say anything at
At
all.
all.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to say this too to a lot of the people listening about our black people and stuff. I want to say, don't stop. Let's stop with the whole, oh, you was in the house, you was fine. When it comes to seeing a light skinned person,
This
that
is
is not
That's a
that is not a
crazy
compliment. That
sentence.
is because if you really want to know what went down in that house, what went down when they were in there, yeah, let's talk about ape with an R in front. Yeah. Let's talk about sexual assault. Yeah, I'm not gonna say the words. We're not gonna get flagged on here, but yeah, y'all know what I mean. There was plenty of things that were happening in the houses that made it just as bad, if not worse. So but let's start with the whole oh yellow bone, you so lucky, your ancestors ain't had no baby. That's not we're not doing that. We're not doing that because I hate it so much when they do that because it's like you're just diminishing your own history, bitch.
Mm-hmm.
Let's your great grandma was up in that house too, bitch. Yeah. Or when and it wasn't even just light skinned people. First of fucking all, there were black women in there. There were black 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 people up in there. There were some dark skinned people up in there. Okay,
Yeah.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and so it's not even just like the whole yellow bone thing. I even hate the term yellow bone. It really is it's such a turn off because it sounds prejudice as fuck.
It really
And
does. Yellow bone and red bone sounds fucked up.
Because it's differentiate. It's separating black and making it more into different categories. We're
Colorism.
already separated. Yeah, we're already separated enough with like race, with politics, with you know what I mean. So just doing that more and more, you're just kind of isolating yourself into like one section. Is not going to help you grow at all. So
They
it's
want to separate it because that means they don't have to be an activist for that
mm-hmm.
cause.
Mm-hmm.
It'll make it easier
like
to manipulate.
and y'all know what you just did? Thank you, Absol. You just tied it all up in a bow for me. This brings back the LGBT and POC educating allies because exactly word for word, what you just said is what is happening currently with black and queer people. We have the black community they want to say Black Lives Matter, which yes, but they don't want to say all Black Lives Matter. In the terms of saying trans Black Lives Matters, Lil Nas X Lives Matter, you have plenty of feminine, queer, trans, great people in our community who have done amazing things for us. But if it's not Brisha or Tyrone, you don't want to support it.
Oh God.
If it's not a cisgendered regular emasculating woman or dude, y'all don't want to deal with it. Y'all don't want to support it. And it really, that's my biggest point out of this entire topic. It's just like, how many, so it's okay. And I really want to say this. I want to say it lightly, but there have been plenty of queer Black people and POC and just in all in general that have been executed unfairly and not legally executed. But when it comes to a cisgendered hetero or somebody who basically is like a Tyler Perry of the community, whenever they are done on wrong, they're done wrongly and unfairly, it's trending all over Black Twitter, it's trending all over Black media, Facebook here, and it really gets to me because it's like that was your it'll even be the family that won't care. It'll be the family of the person that'll just be like, I mean, oh well, he was going to hell anyway. Like that, it bothers me so much because it's like we can't even have each other's backs. We ain't gonna make it out of nothing. We ain't gonna. I want to say that we as Black folk, we as Black folk ain't making it out of a damn thing if we don't all make it out together.
That's what I'm
You
saying.
can't just take your half of the people up out of here. No, bitch. You right there are going to be profiled just like me. And they don't care if I'm gay, they don't care if you eat pussy, they don't care if I take it up the ass. You right there, you gonna get it just like how I'm gonna get it. Point blank, period. And so that's why it pisses me off so bad because it's like, and I know it's happening in other cultures. I know it happens in the Latin culture, especially with machoism. Horribly. I know it happens in Asian culture because they're like, you need to be they have the same masculine thing where they need to be like, you need to be a quote unquote real man, go get your degree, go start a family. It's like they do it in every culture, and it's not this. That's why I say it's an issue for everybody. It's an issue for everybody to join together and really be like, the system don't give a fuck about you because y'all don't have enough numbers to even make a change. We don't, and it sucks. So that's what I'm saying. Like that's my experience with it being Black and queer. It's just like I know if I was to go back home and something happened to me back in my home state, half if not 75% of the state wouldn't even turn their necks. They wouldn't even look. They wouldn't care. So it's important for everyone listening to focus on your mental health and really find people that you can call family because family doesn't always have to be blood. Because blood ain't gonna do shit but get you sick. Okay? But y'all but you guys can go ahead and put any inputs on here. I've made my points.
Damn, it's quiet.
No, because I was waiting for you two to talk because like I said, I don't have much knowledge on this topic. So I'm wishing to like learn and expand my knowledge on this topic by hearing you guys.
Well, do you guys, I'll ask this then. Coming out experiences. Absol, would you like to go?
I personally have not done it because I already know how it would go.
Yeah, and that's
I've
fine.
avoided it.
And that's completely fine because you have internet anatomy and you can say whatever you want here and that's fine. And it's a safe space. And I know with Dizzy Mochi's, experience, I know he had a good easy one. Not to speak for you, but since I know you.
Yeah. It wasn't
But
bad,
like,
but the thing was, it was like the way my family talks, like going up to it, it was very scary. You know what I mean?
It was like ignorant. Yes. It happens to all of us. Like with my family,
Only had to cut off one family member.
I think if I'm thinking about back from my experience, I came out in second grade technically, but I didn't even know what it was. So I was just like, oh yeah, like guys. And then my mom and dad were like, oh, you're probably just confused. And then seventh grade came around and I said, oh, I'm pretty sure I'm not confused now. I'm a little older now and I know what it is. And it took a minute, but things came around. And for the close family, the family that I lived with in my old home, I was okay in. Now, when it came to everybody else down there in the South, I mean, I literally had my grandma ask me the one I don't like. She asked me, "Do you accept Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior?" I said no, but do you want to accept some business that you can mind for yourself because you ain't got none? You all up in mine. Like the biggest thing for me is like I grew up in the Southern Church. Know what that's like. Like it's not a lot of people speak on it, but don't actually have the experience. It's worse than you could ever tell a story about because you are constantly sitting. You're sitting there. Basically, it's a beauty pageant. It's basically a beauty pageant. They're gonna judge you off of anything you do. You got to sit picture perfect to a T, and you're gonna spend all day there. That's literally a pageant.
And
It's not about the word.
And it's tied to slavery too, because the slaves were like, pushed into Christianity.
Yeah.
And if they rejected, they get beat. And what do parents of Christianity do in the Black community do when you kind of talk crazy to them? They would, discipline you. I'm not gonna say beat because there's different varieties of it. You know what I mean? So they'll discipline you the same way that they were disciplined by their parents, who were disciplined by their parents from the slaves. So that's why it's so extreme when it comes to religion in Black communities.
Exactly. They literally wrote in their own version of the Bible, slaves was meant to be because God said so. And then, by the way, the Bible's been translated a million times.
Mm-hmm.
It says, "Man shall not sleep with boy."
Edited a few thousand times.
Man shall not sleep with boy.
Original.
And it's crazy too.
I know.
It says that, but a lot of people in the religious community are caught being hypocrites for.
And everybody that talks about,
mm-hmm.
everybody that talks about drag shows being like, "Oh, protect the kids," are real fucking quiet when they found out the Pastor Daniel was fucking little boys.
Fucking little boys, and their wife on their back.
Oh God,
it's real crazy. They can be pedophiles and do adultery, but
the politicians who post these laws, they're the ones who get caught doing it behind closed doors.
I forgot his name, but he got caught with evidence of doing it with 20 kids.
God,
some dude. It was like on Twitter recently. It could have been like a meme, but I didn't look into it because it sounds true. But I should do some more research on it. But it was some politician who got caught with either child or with a kid.
God damn.
Mm-hmm. Well, we are arriving on our last 7 minutes of the podcast, so we should end it off on a happy note. Do you guys have an experience that you are genuinely proud of yourselves that happened from either like an early age or just something that you've accomplished that you just feel like this is great, especially for someone like me in my community?
Not that I can think of off the top of my head, no.
The one I can think about is more of a stereotype, so I'm not too sure if I should be proud of it.
You'll say it, man.
I placed top 3 in nationals for martial arts. Get it because I'm Black and like to fight.
I mean, martial arts is still cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The thing is, like, that's just
it
might be a harmful stereotype, but like, if you still like you're practicing martial arts, the stereotype is that you just a mindless buffoon just going in, but you like learning how to actually fight, like with martial arts. That's that's defense, not actually like fighting. So
yeah, discipline, defense, all that stuff. It's really good.
Mm-hmm.
How about you, Trey?
Yeah, you right. Yeah.
Oh, for me, damn.
I can think of one.
Oh, word? I bet.
Yeah.
I have to think of a bunch.
I forget about myself
uh,
sometimes. I'm not gonna lie. I don't remember me.
You're a great example to people that are in like your personal life, like your siblings, and plus you cook. So
I do be cooking.
Not many people cook.
I would say not to give out too much personal info, but like you know, in this economy, we're able to, live on your own.
Yeah.
Which it's
before 30.
That's an accomplishment. Before 30, you moved out. That's an accomplishment, honestly, because and it's nothing. I want to say there's nothing wrong with people who live with their parents because the price to live, insane. It's not even funny how bad it is. And so if you can move out, whatever situation you can get yourself into, that's good and healthy for you, do it because you'll feel it. Okay, and so an accomplishment for me that I would say is like I just said, I moved out at 19 years old. I was able to, get on my own and do my own thing and do it the way I wanted to. Because a lot of the times in the Black community, you gotta, do what your parents says. Even if you're 20 years old, you still my son, you still my child, so you gotta do what I say. But I got to do it the way I wanted to without having. I did have support, but it was without someone just straight up guiding me and showing me a path. Like I straight up did all my research, information. I got everything together, and I was able to do it. And so I feel like basically what I want to say with this message is we need to, like, not saying we as in us, of course, but need to like support people when they do something that is hard to do. Because all the times you want to say, "Oh, you finally moved out your mom's house," like it's about time. Like it's like don't say, instead of saying that, be like, "Congratulations!" It's not easy in this capitalistic economy where rent can go up every year.
I had one of my old relatives hit me up when I moved out, and she was saying like, oh, you think you grown now, huh? You think you grown now, huh? You ain't grown till you 50. You know you ain't grown till you 50. I'm not even joking. She literally said that to me. I mean, I know she was joking and shit, but she said that.
Yeah, because my parents the same way.
And I know she was joking because my mom called me later like, yeah, did she tell you that you ain't grown till you 50?
Oh,
but yeah, I get that.
No, tell them about the story. Was it like, it was somebody, I can't remember if it was like your stepdad or something. They was like, oh, you moved out now. Give me the Burger King story. The
Burger King.
That
was my fucking uncle.
Bro, that story pisses me off to this day.
Okay, let me tell you. So
No.
it was like a little bit late after I first moved in my own place, and this nigga like now like knows that I got bills and shit now, so I have like less money freely to like do some shit. So when he was going out, I can't remember what like he took me out to do, but like my mom gave me some money so I could get me something to eat a little bit. And so we passed by the Burger King that's like right next to my spot. And he was like I was like expect you to pay your way. I was a little mad. Like you could like bought me a burger. I was like, I ain't got no money. Like I can ask my mom, like, no, that's your mom money. I want you to pay for it. I was like, nigga, you didn't ask me to pay for it when I was living
from here.
Like nigga, you didn't ask me to do that when I was living with my mom. But now when I got actual bills to pay, that's when you want me to do this? Like that's when you want me to start like paying you. You didn't ask for it neither. You did not like. And he's like, yeah, next time I see you, I'll expect you to buy me a burger. I'm like, yeah, that's why. And still to this day, I never read with him again.
Mind you, the burgers at Burger King are $1.15.
They really cheap.
The burgers are dirt cheap.
Like I didn't have no money. I just paid my first rent. Like first time ever paying rent. I just did that. I'm sitting here proud and happy like that I did that. I ain't got no money. My mom hit me up with some money. I also got also just like actually bought some groceries and shit. So yeah, I really ain't had no money. So and so of course my mom helped me out, give me a little something to eat. Like if you would have asked my mom beforehand, like, cause I'm not just gonna give out my mom's fucking money. Like I call her, ask if you want me to get you some of this little bit of change she got me, and he gonna say nah. Like, well then yeah, fucking go hungry, nigga. Fuck you.
If they do this, it happens like the Black community. They don't, because it happened to me too when I had moved out. The main petty, I'm gonna be honest, I moved out out of petty spite after the fact that I was doing it for myself. Because of course, you should do stuff for yourself always. But then petty spite, because I'm pettily thinking, I'm like, well, I got into an argument with some of my family. And they was like, oh, well, you don't have a say so in anything until you start paying some bills. So I didn't even tell them until like the day before that I was moving out. And then there was gagged. I was like, yeah, you don't get to know that I'm gone now. No, I'm out of here. Because you're disrespectful. You expect respect, but you don't give respect. So now I'm just going to leave and not tell anybody. I mean, of course, I told my, family that was close with my mom, my sister, but I didn't tell. No, girl, fuck them.
The shit that threw me the most about it was like how my family tried to defend him a little bit, saying, "Oh, he's old fashioned. He just wants you to pay your way." Like, nigga, what? No, that's not just old fashioned. That's dumb. I have less money
Pay
now.
away for what?
Like, yeah, he hit me up with a ride, but he always did help me out with rides and shit like that. It's like, but he
That's
ain't never asked for shit
bullshit.
before. He ain't never asked me to buy him no shit before. Like when I was living
the
with my
real
mom and I
bullshit.
had money to give a nigga that bird with. But now that I've got like bills and shit that I can't fucking just freely give niggas money, now you want me to give you shit when I'm less able to?
Crazy because that happens so often where it's like a family member it will always like normally do stuff for you since you were a child, and then like the moment like they switch up out of nowhere. People in our family switch up out of nowhere, being like, "Oh well, you got all them video games, so you can go ahead and do this." I
They'd be
didn't
like,
just randomly wake up one day buying that shit.
like fucking nigga, like you got a gang of video games too. I don't want to hear shit from you. And plus, second of all, nigga, like I haven't bought video games in months. I just moved out. I ain't got no money to do jack shit.
Yeah, but that ain't convenient for their narrative.
And the stupidest shit because they niggas
Um,
like old fashioned don't work here, especially knowing the way inflation and prices and shit work. Like fuck nah.
I don't want to be too messy, okay, but not to mention he's a homophobic priest. Ironic, but anyways, guys,
I'm tired of getting
I
mad.
think we should just about wrap this up.
So I love y'all. Absol, any final words?
No, not that I can think of.
Aight, Rise Blue, any final words?
Thank you for the insight on more things that are happening in the world. Like I really appreciate learning about this.
Yes, sir. Aloe vera sauce, any final words?
I'm just kind of thinking about how Glorilla looks like that alien from Lilo and Stitch,
Which
but with a
one?
wig on. The one, it was like a one-eyed bitch.
Pleakley,
and,
no.
Like it's giving it's giving it.
Wait, hold on. I need you to send the comparison. I don't know what you're talking
I'm
about.
gonna send a picture in the group chat. But I love y'all. I hope your mama them good, your daddy and them good, auntie, uncle, granddaddy, grandmama, all them good. This is gonna be a little different than usual because usually I want you to hit up somebody and tell them they good. But nah, I want you to go down the street. There's this fucking military surplus store. The motherfucker there, he's real fucking rude. His son, you know what his son did? His son threw a rock at my mama car, and after I told him about it, my mama car. So after I told him about it, and he said, "Well, maybe your mom car shouldn't have been driving on the highway like that." Like, what the fuck? Your son threw a rock into the highway, and you gonna say my mama shouldn't have been driving like that? So I want you to go to that motherfucker house, look him dead in the eye, and wish and just curse him. Wish he has nothing but a horrible, terrible, no good, very bad day. And also maybe spit in his coffee and also some other food he got. Just ruin his shit a little bit. Just like rub the ground with his toothbrush or some shit.
Rub the ground.
Oh, my Lord, those
I love y'all.
kids.
Bye bye.